Well, hello and welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the birthplace of geocaching. This is the podcast from the birthplace of geocaching right here in the Great Pacific Northwest. It's live. It's Thursday. I might be a little tired, but we're going to do this. And they call me Chris of the Northwest. We're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're fumbling around in the dark, we'll be brightly caching in the Northwest.
Yes, brightly indeed, because tonight we are talking about flashlights and the such.
Oh.
I know because it says so in the show notes. I'm as anxious as the rest of you to find out exactly what the such is. But we can't find out anything until we bring in our night monkey. Some say he looks best in total darkness. And others say, if you diss Earth caches, he'll poutine you in your place. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
All right. I get the feeling the intro was a little rushed in the editing tonight. So first of all, Night Monkey, that's a little weak. Come on.
But there actually is a night monkey. We Googled it.
Is it a thing?
Yeah.
The Night Monkey. All right. And then the he'll poutine should have been he'll be poutine you in your place.
Oh,
God.
see,
So close.
it's that Canadian grammar I'm not familiar with. We'll have to work on that.
There you go.
We'll use that one 6 or 7 more times.
All
until
right.
we get it right.
Okay. Until you get it right, the punishment will continue until morale improves.
The beatings will continue until morale improves.
Indeed. Hey, good to be back here. It is Thursday night. We're just riffing off the cuff like we normally do. It's a live podcast. That's part of the fun. And it's not work. This is fun for us.
Exactly.
It's work for those who have to listen to this, but it's fun for us.
And we apologize for that.
I don't.
Okay.
You chose to listen to this. At that point, you made your decision. You're kind of on your own at this point.
We're 536 episodes in. If you don't know what you're getting into now,
If you haven't figured it out by now.
Welcome to the podcast.
Exactly.
first time listener, we want you to endure.
That's right. At least 500
Listen to
times.
the previous 535. We'll wait. No, we won't.
And we're back.
Right on. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. The magic of editing. All right. Well, hey, before we do any more magic, a quick reminder that we appreciate the support of all of our patron family, all of our patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. First off, a thanks to Land Sharks, one of our corporate Denali level sponsors. Land Sharks will be at the Geocache event on Saturday, this coming Saturday. If you're listening to the podcast live, if you're listening to it recorded, it could be today. Anyways,
Could be last week.
could be last week, but it'll be the Geocache event in Coquitlam, British Columbia. If you want to save on your shipping, well, get your order in before 10 a.m. tomorrow. That would be Friday. Choose pickup at the Shark store, and they will bring the order with them. So there you go. That's how you save on your order at landsharkz.ca. And folks, let's not forget about our other corporate Denali level sponsor. Well, that's Gold Country Geotourism. Visit exploregoldcountry.com to learn more about the geotours, the region, the hospitality, the fine dining, and don't forget to download the app. You can find that on Facebook as well. exploregoldcountry.com. And if you want to know more about supporting this here little podcast, well, we encourage you to click out the Patreon link on the cachingandw.com website.
Do you really need to go there?
Where did I go?
Anaerobic.
Anna who?
Hey, Wet Coaster says longtime downloader, first time listener.
Well,
Gee, thanks.
welcome, listener. Nice to know we have one.
Exactly.
That's all we're looking for is one.
Mission
And he
accomplished.
tells 2 friends, and we still have 1 listener.
So we're done then. If we've Achieved our goal.
536 episodes. That's all it took.
Woo! Put the
Oh.
big banner up on the aircraft carrier.
Oh. We might have to do a couple more episodes. It's going to take some time to get that banner printed. Hey, folks, it's time for the glow. That's the geocaching log of the week, in case somebody was asking. Nope, nobody was asking.
Nobody's
Whether
asking,
you
He didn't really get the opportunity to ask.
no, I just skipped it this time. Whether you wrote it or whether you read it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. You can send an email or a recording to feedback@cachingnw.com. You can call into 253-693-TFTC and show us just how you glow.
Now I want to go check Reddit for R-stroke glow, but
Oh,
I don't know if that's a thing or not. But
well, we can make it a thing.
we could.
And we can just wait while you go check.
Yeah. No.
I need some
we're back.
Jeopardy music.
All right, the glow. Let's see. This glow, it says, came from Kev MacD. Does that mean he contributed or wrote the log or both?
Well,
Let's say
read
both.
on. You'll find out.
Okay. So this is from a cache of GC9M1XX. So this is a double X. I don't know if it's double extra large or whatever. But anyway, GC9M1XX. And the log says, out today with Acadian Pie to get my smiley after a truly epic failed attempt at FTF. Let's go back to the beginning. When the cache and the associated Adventure Lab got published, I was out the door to attempt FTF. Bonus final coordinates came with only one small glitch. The final AL stop was about 25 meters from what the AL stop indicated. After wandering up the wrong fork a ways, I doubled back to try the other fork, and the required plaque came into view. Perfect. On that day, it's raining. However, for the 2 previous days, it had been snowing. Snow isn't very common in Vancouver, but it's very beautiful. Regular walkers admiring the snowy trails had compressed the snow into hard and somewhat slick snow. You might even call it ice. But again, on that day, it was raining. And I don't mean the rain that Vancouverites consider regular, or even the hard rain that some might call cats and dogs, but the type of rain the weather people call an atmospheric river. I know a little bit about rain as a Vancouverite, but I was surprised that rivers could be in the atmosphere. I mean, like standing under a river falling from the sky. Yet here I was, looking up at a 900-meter as the crow flies walk to the final. FTF on the line. Okay, get started. Slightly over a kilometer of trail, and I find myself at the RZ. And RZ is a lot like a GZ, except it's the river zero as opposed to the ground zero. Water up to my ankles, flowing down the trail, down onto the trail from uphill, and down off the trail towards where the cache is surely hidden. I searched for the cache for 40 minutes or so before conceding that 4 inches of water, 3 inches of snow, and some bouncy GPS signals defeated me. I was wet, cold, and frustrated. Turning back towards the car, I slipped and fell on the icy wet trail and threw my phone into the snow as I did so. Don't worry, I didn't get any colder or wetter. That wouldn't be possible unless I was doing a polar bear swim. I was relieved I didn't break my ankle and that my watch could help me find my phone. I did realize I was in trouble as my ankle would not take much weight without huge amounts of pain. I had my phone back and a full day pack, including survival gear and ham radio, but my first thought was to try to hobble back to the car, which I did over the next hour. Occasional stops in the deeper cold puddles for a few minutes really helped ease the pain. I met a few other cacher people by the car who all thought I was crazy for trying that walk in this rain. Aren't we all a little bit crazy? I went home for a hot shower and a change of clothes as I anticipated a long ER wait. No point in being freezing cold and wet if the wait turned into 12 hours. Fortunately, I was in and out in under 3 hours. Prognosis from the doctor: you would have been far better off if the ankle was broken. Thanks, Doc. Okay, back to the present moment. I started the day with a follow-up x-ray of the ankle and then met up with Acadian Pie. She suggested that I get back on that horse and let's go get it. A lovely sunny day, a dry trail, a good friend, and hey, a nice big geocache. Not anywhere near FTF, but a find and a smiley. Oh, cache is dry and in good shape. Thank you, Keats, for the adventure. So we'll blame Keats for all of the misadventure. Certainly the atmospheric river was completely the CO's fault.
Yeah, it had to be Keats' fault. There's no other way around it.
Oh my!
Thanks, Kev MacD. That was a great story there. Sorry for your injury.
Yeah. It took him a while to get healed up from that one. I recall seeing him hobbling around for quite a while. There you go.
On the trail, and you didn't help him.
Sorry?
You saw him hobbling on the trail, and you didn't help him.
No, I mean, not at that moment. I mean, subsequent to that, as he was healing up.
Dormore can identify with that log.
There you go. All right. I had good glow, Kitty Quest says, and that was a great glow. Yeah. Thank you, Kev MacD, for sending that in.
Hey, now tonight,
yes,
Kev MacD can come in. I'm sure he wants to talk about our Illuminating Insights, talking about light. In fact, we're going to use hashtag light. So if you want to join in the conversation, use hashtag light, not the heavy hashtag, the light hashtag.
That took me a moment. Gotcha. Yep. See where you went with
add
that.
To tonight's show. And of course, you can use hashtag FATAS if you want to bring something up in the after show.
There you go. Hashtag FATAS. And, don't forget about the other hashtags as well that folks like to use. There's the hashtag podcast baking and hashtag podcast drinking and whatever else. Just,
hashtag podcast napping.
We're good with that. Just listen to the dulcet tones of our voice. It'll put you to sleep.
And now we want to talk about flashlights. Oh, sorry.
That's borderline creepy, but yeah. Okay.
So am I.
Yeah.
Something to be said for consistency.
There you go. All right. Well, we got a little bit of news. We got some feedback from via YouTube from Heather. I believe this may be in response to our news items from last week, if I'm correctly.
Well, I just thought it was funny, right? We purposely mispronounce GIF in all possible ways to assist with the pronunciation or annoy people as much as possible. But anyway, that's all I have to say. I don't want to steal Heather's thunder here.
No, what Heather said is there is a rule that when G is followed by an I or an E, it is pronounced as a J.
Just like in
general. Sorry?
Yeah. I was going to say, just like in gift.
Yeah, exactly.
Or,
Thank you.
Or given.
I was going to go in that general direction, but that's awesome. So as always with the English language, absolutely. There's lots of rules that are not consistent.
And none of them apply in this case.
The great things about standards is that there's so many of them.
Just like, Dormore says, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm going to continue with GIF.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it should be the hard G for geocaching.
Yeah.
But
another update from Heather, and this one we can be a little less snippy about. Heather shares, I recently qualified for a challenge cache in Seattle where each milestone needs to be a different type of cache. My recent number 5,000 was a virtual find. So congratulations on your 5,000th milestone and qualifying for the challenge cache.
So she's found 4,999 different types of caches.
There you
Because
go.
every cache is a milestone, as we've said, right?
Maybe. Depends on one's perspective, I suppose. Oh, well.
Seriously,
else?
though, what is a milestone? Is it every 100, every 1,000?
It varies. I mean, it depends.
Right.
Depends how you're doing it. If you're going by the geocaching.com milestones, it starts with 1, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, I think.
Okay.
And then it goes like 250, 500, 1,000, 2,000. I can't remember. Something like that. I'd have to take a look at it. But if you go by
Almost a logarithmic type scale or something.
yeah, almost, yeah. It's like, hey, you're still playing. If you go by Project GC, they've got a different different system for tracking the milestones. But hey, as we say, any cache find that is important to you is a milestone.
Brian Lang says, if you ask Limax, every find could be a milestone.
Well, exactly. That was
Good
my
call.
point. Yeah.
Every find is unique.
Yeah.
At least a unique number.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you very much, Heather, for sharing sharing your milestone and your fun and giving us a little something to riff off of there. And thanks for putting up
With us.
with the abuse
Yeah.
on you trying to correct the English language for us. We're incorrectable.
And folks, the GIF weekend starts this weekend. So get out to your local event, your local viewing event, and go view and vote for your favorite GIF entries.
Yeah, I got an email with a link to a survey. So once I attend my event, which is not for another week here in this area, it's next weekend, but I will be filling out that survey.
Sounds good. And hey, just on that note, if I'm not mistaken, next week on this very podcast, we are going to have a couple of Pacific Northwest GIF creators and finalists who are going to be joining us on the podcast. So that'll be a fun conversation.
Fantastic.
Indeed. All right.
Oh, sorry.
Sup?
According to the Caching Cants, it actually starts today, November 9th through the 19th.
Okay.
Well, that makes sense because I saw a post
Yeah.
this morning from Germany that they were hosting their GIF event. So this morning being their evening, and it was pretty cool. The pictures I saw, they were having somebody had created a gigantic signal statue in like the pose and shape of the Oscar awards.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty
Okay.
neat.
Oscar the GIF.
Oscar the Grouch. Yeah. the Grouch.
That one doesn't work.
Nah, that does not roll off the tongue.
You could just say Jagrouch.
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 Okay. Let's get back to a lighter subject, if you will.
Okay. I feel like you're getting at something.
What do you fellows use to illuminate the darkness?
Jim's personality.
My shiny bald head.
How about the listeners? Anybody else, please? Somebody help me here.
It's hard to get good help, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Anyhow, my so obviously we're talking about flashlights and artificial light sources to use when caching in the dark. My go-to is headlamp.
You prefer a headlamp over, say, more of a tactical style flashlight?
I have tactical style flashlights and I will carry them with me, and it depends on the scenario, but generally I just find a headlamp is just a lot more helpful and handy to have. Plus I do enjoy a good night cache.
Yes. Wits End, what about you? Are you a headlamp or handheld?
Yes.
Head or hand?
Yes, I do both. In my everyday backpack, I have a headlamp that I use for, especially if I'm working in a place where I need both my hands, or even just hiking a trail where I can hold a GPS to whatever. But for most of the time, just on and around basic lighting needs, I have a small flashlight that is part of my everyday carry. It's almost always clipped into my pocket. It's just a little small light about that big. It's an 18650 battery in there, rechargeable. And this one, well, I've had it for quite a few years now. I don't remember the exact specs on it, but it goes from it has 4 brightnesses, I think. It goes from a very dim, I think they call it a moon light or something, but it's great for just trying to read a map or look at something. If you're out in a dark area and you don't want to ruin your night vision and you just need a little bit of illumination, it's great for that. But it also ramps up through several other settings to, I think, 500 lumens, which is, for its size, pretty significant. It's not the brightest flashlight in the world, but for a little tiny flashlight, it's pretty big.
It's cool.
I like it. It's made by Olight. Olight.
Olight.
No, excuse me. It says olightworld.com on the tailpiece.
Wow.
CRS 98 likes a handheld. Caching cans, handheld all the way.
Yeah.
Apparently you can't. Yeah. Sorry, I thought I saw a headlamp, but I didn't see one in there.
Brylang. Brylang prefers a headlamp.
There you go.
There you go.
Now, here's a simple. Go ahead.
There was one more that came in from Dora Moore there. She uses a handheld unless she knows she's going into a cave or a tunnel or such.
Yeah.
It's also
judging
good.
by her profile photo there, she's got a headlamp on in the profile photo.
Right. So there you go. That's very telling.
Is brighter better?
Always.
Well, I was going to say the answer is always, it depends.
I have a handheld flashlight that'll do up to 1,000 lumens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's got like 4 settings, you know.
You had to get twice as many lumens as Jim.
That was the whole goal.
Only because I bought it later. You know, and there's times when that 1,000 lumen setting is just too bright.
Yeah. Same here with the 500.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've found times where being able to adjust the, what's the term I want to use? The luminosity, the brightness.
Brightness.
Yeah.
Helps a lot. So make sure you get a flashlight that has those multiple settings.
You know, you could use a laser pointer and just move it back and forth really fast.
You could.
Yeah. No, unless you're at a dam with a show going on, you don't want to do that. Yeah. Three Hams uses a handheld tactical 600 lumen, size of a small pickle, which, I mean, obviously right there.
Choice of things to, no, we can all picture. So it's a gherkin sized.
It's clip to his belt, single USB rechargeable AA battery.
Cool. There you go. It's a good way to do it.
It's a good reference visual. I can, picture the gherkin I keep clipped to my belt. And,
As one does.
As one does. Banana for scale.
I can't bring up some of these. Sorry. There's things in the chat we just can't talk about right now and keep it family friendly, apparently.
There you go.
Somebody's been reading the show notes because Wet Coaster says, I have a headlamp that has a red rear flashing light.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, he hasn't been reading the show notes, but he's getting close to where I'm going next. Okay, so that's really good. His headlight there is really good for bicycling, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have a forward light and a red flashing,
or just walking anywhere suburban or such in the evening, or if you're crossing a road on your trail or whatever, it's a good idea. Or walking along the side of a road, that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. 3am says, yes, brighter is better. I spot it because the others are using their phone lights. Yeah. Okay. There are times that's what you have with you is the flashlight on your telephone.
Light is your emergency backup as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, exactly. It
now
works.
Now we're starting to get into the 10 essentials.
There you go.
Well, often when I'm in a work situation, somebody will pull out their cell phone and turn the flashlight on and reach out into a precarious location or something. And then I pull my phone out, my flashlight out. And not only is it brighter and more compact, but they're like, what? My phone's not good enough? I was like, well, this one is brighter. But also, if I drop this, it probably is going to keep working. And worst case, I'm out the price of a flashlight. Whereas if you drop your, sometimes nowadays up to $1,000
or more
cell phone or more, you might be out a lot more and much sadder.
I can buy a lot of flashlights for $1,200 to $1,500 for the price of your high-end smartphone.
Yeah, and depending on which flashlight you're using, and I don't know if we're going to talk about headlamps again later, so maybe I don't.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Chris, I think you're the one who first pointed me on to these headlamps.
The monoprice,
the monoprice ones.
Yeah.
From their outdoor line of products, they're not expensive. I bought mine, I don't know how many years ago, and they're still working fine. USB rechargeable. There's a little USB plug in the top with a weather seal on it. I've had them in the cold. I've had them in the rain. It's fantastic. I can't recommend them highly enough, and they're cheap. They're like, I haven't looked at them recently, but the last I looked, they're in the range of like 12 to 15 US.
I was going to say under 20 is what I remember. Yeah.
Which is like crazy cheap.
Used to be just $10 US, but that was a while ago.
But you lose one of those, and it's like, I mean, it's
okay.
Annoying, but okay. Yeah. I saw Darren.
I liked this. Yes.
Yeah. He's talking about the LED Lenser headlamp. It's USB rechargeable also, but it has a cool feature here he's sharing. It's auto dimming when it gets up close to something. Now, that is a really interesting feature. I've never heard of that on a headlamp before, but that would be a good idea.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that on any flashlight, and I love it.
Yeah. The ones that Chris and I are talking about, they do have, I think, 3 white light settings. It's high, medium, and then just like a flashing light, like a strobe. And then it has red LEDs as well, which will just be one light setting or red strobe. Frankly, I use the red strobe setting on my headlamp if we're going for a walk this time of year, if we're going out for a walk in the neighborhood and such, and the cars will see you.
That's true. You put it on backwards. So
I don't put it on backwards, but it's a
and you walk into traffic with that. So
like White Coaster. Yeah. I just walk across 200th Street here and just everybody stops. No. Well, it's a good suggestion that White Coaster had about that.
So that brings up the question I have next: red light or white light?
Yes.
Yeah, as Jim said, it depends, right?
Right. I mean, it depends on the setting. But when you guys are out, if you have a headlight, I haven't seen this so much in a flashlight, maybe I'm wrong, that has a red LED setting to help you protect your night vision.
Yeah.
Do you guys use that?
Night vision?
I have.
Do I use my night vision?
I have used the red light on flashlights and headlamps.
Yeah.
For that reason, yes.
Yeah, I do that sometimes if I'm camping, and it's sometimes do both. Yeah. If I'm camping and I just, I'm walking from one spot to another and I don't want to be blinding everybody else, I'll use the red light setting. But most of the time, if I'm hiking, particularly if it's a night cache, I'll have it on the white light setting because, I don't know. I haven't tried the red light setting with the night cache tax. I don't know if that would work very well.
Red has a shorter wavelength, if I'm not mistaken, so
Right.
it doesn't travel as far, doesn't propagate as well.
Right. Interesting. Wet Coaster says the red light is what he got used to when he was in the Navy. The interior lights on the ships went red at night.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that. I always thought from the movies that the ship lights go red when it's like, oh, combat and
Red alert.
yeah, to battle stations. But no, apparently that's night operating mode in Navy ships. That's cool. There you go. Learn something new tonight.
Mm-hmm. And that would also, oh, sorry, red has a longer wavelength. Oh, well, there you go. So should propagate farther then, right?
Propagate
Am I right in my thinking?
Yes, and
CRS
would have less
98,
intensity on your eyes because it would.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a shorter amplitude.
And of course, I'll share this because once upon a time when I was searching for headlamps, I stumbled across this product on Amazon, and I just had to chuckle every time I see it because that's the headlamp to beat all headlamps.
I'm sure it has a red dim setting, right?
It must, yes. I don't know
The
the specs.
reflector is bigger than the person's face.
There was a comment in the chat. I can't remember who made it about maybe it was Start Casher. I can't remember if it was. No, it was GSM times 2, saying that wearing a headlamp when hiking with others can annoy them when you look at them in the eyes. Can you imagine somebody turning in to talk to you wearing that?
You'd get sunburn.
Yeah. The other thing that's annoying
the Indiana Jones scene with the Covenant of the Ark of the Covenant.
So the other thing that's annoying when wearing a headlamp on a dark trail is it attracts all the bugs right to your face.
Yeah, in the summertime, that's true.
Yeah. I have found that.
There you go, Wits End.
You pick up conversations a kilometer away with that light.
That's funny.
You have to be that far away in order to,
Pretty much,
enjoy the
yeah.
brightness. So yeah, I thought, boy, when I first got that headlight and it's got a red setting, that'll be great. I can go out, I can still use my night vision. I don't find it overly effective on a trail.
I find it more effective for things up close, like reading a map or keys in the doorknob or something up close to you. Rather,
if I need to watch for roots and
distance.
rocks on a trail, I'd rather have the white light on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd rather have a handheld light pointed down from my knees down, so I'm not, blinding my night, right in my face. But
it's a good point.
Okay, Land Monkey, I'll let you read 3 Ham's comment.
A little bit of science here. He says the human eye is most responsive to 555 nanometer wavelength, which is why a 1 milliwatt green laser pointer looks so much brighter than a 1 milliwatt red laser pointer. Interesting. Okay, so same power, same amplitude, but with the different
color,
wavelengths.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, that's cool. Thank you, 3 Hams. Cool fact. Fun fact of the podcast.
Ooh.
Science with Land Monkey.
Ooh. Seebeck Tribe.
Science with 3 Hams.
Science with 3 Hams. There you go.
Every day is science with 3 Hams. Seaback Tribe says, I'm listening to you guys as I'm heading home for my first GIF event in Lillooet, Brynan area on the Olympic Peninsula.
I don't think I've ever heard of either of those communities.
I've heard of Lillooet.
I've heard of Lillooet, but that's up here.
This one's more of a WAP than a wet.
Yeah. Wet WAP.
It's my little wireless access point.
Your little WAP. Oh,
I'm curious where those communities are. I have to
on the Olympic Peninsula.
Yeah.
Somewhere on it narrows it down.
Yeah.
It really does. I mean,
yeah,
Now, is it anywhere near Hump Tulips?
It's on the Olympic Peninsula. It's all near Hump Tulips.
Right. There you go.
Oh, okay. Now we brought it up, and let's dive into the heart of the matter: batteries. Are you guys team disposable or team rechargeable?
Yes.
And bring up some pros and cons to help us navigate this electrifying debate.
I don't know if there's. It's not much of a debate for me. It's rechargeable. I mean, unless there's some absolute reason why I cannot go the rechargeable route. Sometimes I'll have what are they called? The batteries that hold the power for a super long
Lithium.
time. Is it the lithium ones? Yeah, I guess it's the lithium ones. I'll keep sort of a pair of AA's of those around just as an emergency backup, but generally everything is rechargeable.
Yeah. That's my first choice as well. Mine is a rechargeable, like I said, it's an 18650 cell, which we've talked before is 18 millimeters in diameter and 65 millimeters in length, and it's a cylindrical or O shaped design.
That's the 18650 or 0.
Yeah, 0. Yeah. But I also have picked up standard non-rechargeable flashlight or batteries in a pinch because my rechargeables was running low. I was out on somewhere and needed to use the flashlight and wasn't near my charger, forgot to charge it, whatever. But most of the time, rechargeable is my first choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. My flashlight has a USB B port in it, a mini B, micro B. So it can be charged, while you're driving to your night cache event or your night caching, and that way for me, I can always leave it in the car, right?
Yeah.
I know it's going to be okay summer and winter. I'm not going to have to worry about battery leakage.
Yeah. That's
right.
That's a problem with disposables for sure. Yeah. If you leave them in the device too long, they get all white and flaky.
Yeah. All the light juice comes out of them. The flashlight doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. The disposable batteries, there is a convenience factor. And, if you're really in a jam, you can usually any gas station or whatever, you can pay a premium and get some batteries if you really, really need them.
And some tuna.
But there's definitely an environmental impact in using disposable batteries. And and I think overall it's probably more expensive.
Probably, but it sure is convenient, right? You can stop and get AA batteries just about anywhere in any country.
Yeah. GSM times 2 uses the Eneloop Panasonic batteries that do hold a charge really well. I've used those in the past as well. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah, I've used those in my DSLR flash.
I
have some AA's, rechargeable AA's for that. They're great.
Cool. Because it could be months between use of flashes. I used it, don't need it for a couple of months. I go to use it again, and it still works with those rechargeables. So
nice.
So I think we're all team rechargeables, aren't we?
I think so. I think that's where we've landed here.
That's what I lean towards. I just think it's so much more convenient, and not just rechargeable batteries, but a rechargeable, like a USB powered port on the device.
That's even better. Yeah. And that's like some of these headlamps and such. Mm-hmm. I saw a comment up above from Darren that not only is his USB plug-in headlamp USB rechargeable, apparently it has a firmware and it's doing an update right now. That's pretty crazy.
A firmware update for a flashlight.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got new button modes coming up soon.
I'm curious what will come with the new firmware update.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it's got
a one that does the auto dim, so I guess it has to have some sort of intelligence. So.
Maybe it can detect Windows now.
Yeah, there you go. It's Chat GP flashlight.
Oh. They're putting one of the voice assistants in it. Hey, flashlight, turn on.
Yeah. That seems like a practical use of that technology. Oh dear.
Okay.
Go ahead.
One more question about flashlights. Do you want a UV light integrated into your flashlight, or do you want a separate unit for a UV flashlight?
Oh. Well, imagine having them integrated into the same flashlight would be convenient. I guess they make those. I don't know if I've ever seen one of those.
Mm-hmm. I believe they do. I don't own one, but I have mine separate.
I don't have mine up here, but yes, I've got one that has white and UV.
It'd they're particularly handy as a geocacher, obviously, because
Yeah.
then you just carry one light.
Here, something's
What's
going on over here with my video. I was going to share something I found on Amazon.
Jez?
If you look here, this is a tiny flashlight. Okay. It's meant to be on a key ring. It's small. So the size of maybe 2 AA batteries side by side, that large.
Okay. Yeah.
Supposed to have 1,000 lumens.
Wow.
And UV, 14 modes total, magnetic base.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, it's $23, $24.
Hard to pass up.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool.
And magnetic base is cool. That's one thing I also like about my low light is if I'm doing work at work in a server equipment rack, it'll just stick right to the side of the rack and light the rack bay up that I'm working in.
Yeah.
If I'm going to spend lots of time there, I'll go get my headlamp. But in a pinch, I can just pull it out and magnet it to the side of the rack.
Ah. And Jaron Archer says there's a new O-Light as well that has both UV and white LEDs. Cool.
And my OLED is a generation older that doesn't have USB charging built into it. But so I have a separate charger on my desk for
the battery.
A battery, but the new ones with the built-in that's really convenient.
Very cool.
I might have to agree with CRS98 here. He says, I suspect UV combo lights don't work well for either.
Why would you say that?
Just you getting a combo tends to compromise, right? Maybe you're not going to get as bright of a white.
I don't know. I don't know that would be the case anymore. I mean, back when you were using like incandescent style bulbs, yeah, but with the LED bulbs, I don't know that would be a limitation anymore.
Okay, the little one I just flashed up there.
Yeah,
has a separate UV bulb.
Right.
It's not just some sort of filter or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Okay. Oh, okay. So if that's what CRS98 was assuming, is that you put some sort of filter over top of the white light to get UV. I don't think that would work very well at all. But I was assuming you would have separate bulbs.
Well, and I think that one you showed had 2 side-by-side, actual reflectors, one for each lamp as well. Because it seems to me that parabolic flashlight reflector is designed to have the light source in one specific spot. And if you have a second lamp, it's not going to be in the optimal focus location for the reflector. But if you had 2, then,
There you go. Well, at that price, it might be worth checking out. That's
pretty
cool.
Oh, and USB-C.
Like 25 US?
Yeah.
And USB-C recharging.
USB-C. Yeah.
That seems like might be worth checking out for sure.
Indeed.
Alrighty then.
IHAM says the combo ones just have a separate UV and white LEDs.
There you go. But as Jim says, I guess it depends how you position the LEDs for maximum.
That's
efficacy.
my hunch. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, I was going to say good timing for this episode because tomorrow afternoon I've got a YouTube episode all about going night caching. So,
how about that?
So there you go.
We should get together and schedule these things so that,
Yeah.
Guys, we didn't. This just worked out this way.
Worked out really well for me anyways. Oh, that's cool. But yeah, I think interesting conversation there. Lots of good feedback from the chat. A little bit of talk about batteries, but about the flashlights and the headlamps versus handhelds. I mean, I guess the other thing is there's such a handhelds have evolved so much in the last 10 years or so from when everybody wanted to have like the multi D cell mag lights.
Right.
That's how you got the most power. Now we're down to like what you guys are carrying. What 3Hams was talking about, 600 plus lumens in the palm of your hand. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the 4D cell mag light was a weapon as well as a flashlight. So it's a
Oh, yeah, it had
multi-use
that
combo
going
unit
for it.
there too.
Yeah.
I remember when I first got it, it was almost too bright. It acted like a lightsaber in a slightly foggy
Yeah.
environment. Like, holy cow, this thing's bright. And there was no way to dim it, but you could focus it. I kind of missed that on
That's a
the new
good point.
smaller
Yeah.
lights. You can't focus the light like you used to, so you could shoot it farther.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of lights that do allow you to focus. So I've got one similar to what you guys use,
Mhm.
a handheld that I take when I go hiking. It's what is it? It's a Tovatech Fusion 260. I don't know, whatever it is. That's the branding that's on it. But it takes a single one of these. I don't have my glasses on right now. Lithium ion, the 14550 batteries,
Okay.
the 3.7 volts or whatever they are. But
Yeah.
it basically looks like a AA, but
Mhm.
it charges USB and it has its own kind of thing. But anyways, I was going to say with this light, it is nice because it does have the ability. You can. I don't know if you can see that on the. You definitely can't see this on the audio, but
No.
It has the ability to focus by a gentle tug.
It has a sliding mechanism on the reflector.
Yes.
Kitty Quest says, I like being able to adjust the focus.
It's a handy feature for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Sometimes
for
you just
geocaching.
sometimes you want to have a narrow, sometimes you want to have a wide beam. It's helpful. Like when you're on a trail, you don't want that narrow focus. You want something wide so you can see what's around you rather than just looking where you're going to put your next foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to see where the Sasquatch is coming from.
Exactly.
Pivot. That's funny. All right. Well, what do you think, guys?
I think we covered this issue. I think we illuminated this issue.
Indeed.
Shed a little light on the topic, did we?
Yes.
Indeed. Well, that was fun. Thank you, everybody, for participating with your flashing light feedback.
So very nice. Folks, we thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest.
That's right. And we hope you enjoyed this episode. And we want to take a moment to thank our corporate Denali level sponsors. That would be Land Sharks and Gold Country Geotourism. LANDSHARKZ.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. They're shipping those online orders daily. And remember, if you want an order delivered to Coquitlam, get it in before 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Delivered to your hot little hands.
Into your hot little hands, as long as you're going to be in Coquitlam.
Right.
At the good event. And for absolutely amazing geocaching adventures, check out exploregoldcountry.com and download the app. And, we want to thank all of our faithful Denali level supporters, which includes Land Sharks, Gold Country Geotourism, Groovy Owl, Cool Cow Cachers, and Cachly, the geocaching app. If you want to know more about supporting this show, click the Patreon link on the cachingw.com website.
Like B. Pendragon did.
And Peach of Washington.
Mountain Bike.
Nervous Energies.
Boomer 365.
One of our favorite spilly drinkers, Wet Coaster.
One of our healthy healers, Kev MacD.
Headlamp wearer Doromore.
Kitty Quest.
M-Nerve.
Subway Mark.
Terrible Lunch, Great Cacher. Gas Station Tuna.
J-Car.
LG 9000.
You, Dak.
Just Carlo.
GeoNav Pro.
Genies.
Hacker Doc.
Seebeck Tribe.
The Camp Clan.
Geocaches.
CRS 98.
GSM ×2.
Team Noltex.
Limax.
Trexer.
Green Words.
I've lost my space here.
Yeah,
MC3
because I went
cats.
out of order.
That's it. MC3 cats.
Ari, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Segehove.
Skyhawker.
Antaeus.
Korsgat.
Logwork.
Flagman.
Oh, that's me, Ala Robrick.
Kid Vegas 19.
You talks to rocks.
Winos, Seattle.
Just finding our way.
And finally, the end of the list. We would like to share with you the name of the supporting patron family member at the very end of this list. As I look onto the show notes and read it, I will now share with you what that name is. And that name that is on the list at the end of the list.
Now, Land Monkey,
Yes.
could you tell us whose name that is at the end of the list?
I would absolutely love to do that. So let me go and reference the list right now, and I will double check and make sure that I have this correctly, and I just don't go off of memory here because that could.
He's got nothing up his sleeve.
I don't have anything up my sleeve, and
Nothing under his hat.
no, well, no, I don't. Sadly, and the final patron for tonight. BC Rockcrawler.
Folks, thanks for taking the time and the extra time right there at the end to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like the show, click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. If you didn't like the show, let us know what you want us to talk about. If you like the vibe, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and give us a review. Now, if you were in a restaurant, you would give us a tip. If you were in a live audience, you would clap. But since you're on a podcast, leave us a free, fast, fabulous, fantastic 5-star review. And of course, you can call into 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask a question, or help us out with a flashlight or lend us a light any time of the day or night. I like that one better.
Lend us a light. There you go.
Of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. You can join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for a live show and even live video chat. And folks, I ask you to stay tuned for
The after show.
Is lend us a light anything like do me a kindness?
I don't know.
I like that phrase, do me a kindness. I don't know where that phrase comes from, but I just
Do me a solid.
Well, yeah, I mean, do me a solid is kind of more like a bro to bro kind of thing. But if you ask somebody to do them a kindness, it just, I don't know, just has this feel to it of, I don't know. I just like the phraseology.
How can a GIF have two syllables?
It just does.
Yeah, obviously.
It's a miracle.
I mean, 4 letters. I mean, linguistic talent.
Or that.
Let's see. There was a couple.
Oh,
CRS98 says, my Duracell has 3 brightness settings, including an emergency flash.
Mhm.
Yes, the coma-inducing strobe on most flashlights are a little much.
Yeah.
Some of them have the true SOS flash, which is nice, but
Yes.
and if you're in a situation where you need it, I'm sure you love it.
That reminds me. I'm going to grab something. I'll be right back.
If you have to cycle through that to get to the brightness setting you want, it's just annoying.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to say that. Now, and if there's anybody who's been saved by that SOS flash, then I'm
And
sure
call
somebody
in to
has, so
253-693-TFTC and tell us about it.
Exactly. GSM times 2 says the Eneloop batteries also don't bleed out and ruin devices like alkaline batteries do.
Yeah.
And that's true. You can leave them for months.
See this thing? This is my vessel flask. That VSSL is the brand name. These are.
I'd like to buy a vowel, please.
I know, right? These are made in British Columbia. I do really like these things. They're not cheap, but sometimes you can get them on sale. But so this one is actually a flask that I can put bourbon in when I'm going for a hike and I want to have a little treat at the end. and it actually has in the bottom, it has collapsible cups, which are super cool. But on the top, it has an oil-filled compass, so very cool as well. But on the bottom, it has a flashlight. And I was always thinking, oh, okay, well, that's convenient that I have those flashlights. Well, ended up on a road trip I don't know, earlier this year. Mrs. Monkey and I wanted to do a night cache. And we had been doing some evening caching and didn't realize that our headlamps had gotten pretty low on battery and hadn't charged them up. But I was able to go into the Jeep and grab this bad boy. Oh, hold on. Hold that down for a second. Boom. And use this to do a night cache. It worked out quite well. So I was very pleased about that. And it's got, multiple light settings and all that kind of.
So you call that your flask light?
It is a flask light, indeed. But so that's, it's funny because we were talking about the different flashlights and stuff. I thought, I normally didn't think about it. And actually what you can do is the flashlight piece unscrews out of the bottom here. So you could just take that.
Now you have to drink all the bourbon inside.
No, you don't, because the bottom is where the cups go.
Okay.
So if you take the compass off, then you have to drink all the bourbon. But yeah, it's a nice little, decent sized little flashlight there.
Is it magnetic by chance?
It is not magnetic.
But that way you can see to pour your bourbon.
Right? Exactly. But yeah, it just reminded me of that I did have another type of flashlight that I used when I was in a pinch to grow an inch.
I see on their website they also have a first aid stash light.
Oh,
yeah, they've got a variety. It's basically their shtick is that it's this tubular aircraft aluminum container that you can put different things inside, and then you've got a compass on the top, a flashlight on the bottom, and then whether it's like this one's a flask, they've got other ones, as you say, that are like a first aid kit. They've got some that are like fishing tackle and stuff.
And you can build your own.
And yep. And as Brylang says, it is based in Abbotsford, BC.
Looks like nice stuff.
Oh, lovely. Maybe we should have them on the show. That would be a wonderful Christmas gift for a geocaching alcoholic friend.
Like me.
Oh, yeah.
But I already have one. So there you go.
Seebeck Tribe says the event is on Highway 101 across the water from Southwest Seebeck, Silverdale area.
Oh,
so there you go. If you need to know somewhere on the peninsula.
Cool. Thank you, Seebeck Tribe.
In the OP, as we refer to it here.
OP.
If you're cool, it's the OP.
Oh, then it's Olympic Peninsula.
Okay.
Because I'm not cool.
Cool.
Funny times. All right. What do you think, guys? We got it pretty much covered off. I'm looking forward to the Gajif this weekend. You guys going to a Gajif this weekend?
Yes, I believe so.
Next weekend. Friday the 17th, I'm going.
Okay. And I guess also we'd be remiss if we didn't forget to mention that it is Remembrance Day this weekend, at least here in Canada.
Yep, Veterans Day Saturday.
There you go. So let's remember those who have given so much so that we can have so much. Brylang says he will be attending the Gajif event in Coquitlam on Saturday as well. And it is, I've seen varying comments. The last one I saw that they had freed up a few seats, but there's multiple Gajif events going on. So make sure you get signed up. Gia Sometimes Too is hosting one on the 18th in Los Angeles. Los Angeles. Oh, wow. Fancy. Very cool.
Probably in Hollywood, knowing him.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds like...
own red carpet and the whole
Is that the Oscars that he's hosting there? Okay.
Doramore says, I went on a mini #geocache road trip last weekend. I went up a fizzy loop, got some geo art, and got to go biking on the Galloping Goose Trail for the first and not last time.
That's awesome. Yeah. For those who don't know, Galloping Goose Trail is a trail system around the communities at the southern tip of Vancouver Island, and it is a biking trail, a very well managed and maintained and laid out biking trail, and hiking. You can walk it as well, but Lots of people bike it, and people, in fact, use it as a commuting route on their bikes as well.
Interesting.
But yeah, Galloping Goose Trail, lots of geocaches, and just a beautiful trail system to enjoy.
I don't know if I've seen a galloping goose.
Right? Wow.
Starcacher has 3 GIF events on the schedule for this weekend.
There you go.
It's going to get that souvenir 3 times.
That's 3 times better than 1, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. And until next week, grab your flashlight and get caching in the Northwest.